Is the Mevo Core too expensive? Let's talk about it. Logitech just released a new camera called the Mevo Core, and I've been actually enjoying this camera. So many videos that I made about this camera. It's got a lot of features, and other people did make review videos and everything, but I've seen something that kept coming back from the comments, people saying that the Mevo Core is actually too expensive. And I believe it is kind of too expensive, but I also believe that the camera is not expensive. And in this video, I'm gonna try to convince you why the camera is not too expensive, but also I'm going to explain why I think some people may see it as expensive. And I'm not biased, because if there's someone who likes budget gear, is me. So trust me on this one. If you agree, let me know down below in the comments, and if you disagree, please don't be angry, just let me know down below and give me your reasons. So let's go. What's going on, guys? My name is Sam. You're watching my production tips and tools, and today we're talking about the Mevo Core, the newest camera. This is a micro four third sensor camera, interchangeable lens from Logitech. Before I get into features, again, this video is not about features and everything. If you want to check out some other videos that I made talking about features and what the camera can do, I'm gonna leave some links down below so you guys can check out the camera and all the cool stuff that you can get from the camera. However, we're gonna be addressing this pricing issue. I don't know if it's an issue, but it's just what most people are saying, and I get what they're coming from. People comparing, which I do compare to. The first thing I thought when I actually saw the price, by the way, if you don't know the price, right now it's actually priced at $99, which is, they say, $1,000 without the lens. So on the top of getting the camera for $1,000, you're gonna have to invest in lenses. Now, luckily, micro four third lenses are some of the cheapest lenses on the market. Trust me, if you are into full frame Sony, Canon lenses, if you buy G Master lenses, they're super expensive. Some lenses may cost $2,000 or $3,000, even more. Like some power zoom lenses, if you want to get like this is one example. This is a micro four third lens that's a power zoom, costs under $500. But if you were getting the same thing in full frame, something like a Canon lens would be thousands of dollars. So trust me, micro four third lenses are actually super cheap. However, coming from most people actually comparing the Mevo Core that costs $1,000 to cameras like the G85 or G7 that cost around $500 or $600. And it makes sense, but at the same time, it does not make sense, because what you're looking at camera, yes, the GH5 can record, the GX85 or G7 or G85 can record in 4K. You got 1080p 60 frames per second. The Mevo Core doesn't even do 60 frames per second in 1080, not even 4K, which I think personally is gonna happen eventually at some point with the firmware update, but I don't know. I didn't get it from Logitech. So for now, what we have is a camera with 1080p 30 frames per second and 4K 30 frames per second. So if you compare with those cameras, the camera sounds overpriced, and I get it. However, I have something for you that I wanted to say. If you feel like this camera is overpriced, I think the camera is simply not made for you. And don't be offended. Why? Because sometimes we think everything that's made or every gear that's released is actually for us, and sometimes we are wrong. People are comparing to the Blackmagic micro cinema camera, micro pocket camera, whatever. You know the one I'm talking about, the little one in the box that costs, I believe, around $1,000 too. I believe $995, which is around $1,000, same price range. And they're looking at it, looking at all the features and everything. They're like, okay, why would I buy the Mevo Core instead of buying the Blackmagic? It's got more cinematic features and everything. The reason why I'm saying this is because that camera, the Blackmagic micro pocket camera, was made specifically for people who are into cinema kind of looking style. The camera has HDMI, I believe, and SDI, but it doesn't have all the wireless connectivity like NDI and all the streaming options and being controlled with the app and to be able to go live directly from the camera. So that's another thing you have to consider. Now, if you don't need those features from the Mevo Core, then that's why the Mevo Core was not made for you. If you feel like the Mevo Core is too expensive, it's just simply because the Mevo Core was not made for you. Personally, I think the Mevo Core was made mostly for live streaming. And as you can see, the camera doesn't have any LCD screen for controlling the camera. The camera doesn't have any other buttons apart from this one single button. The camera is a box. The camera is well built, 100% metal, and the camera has these three main things. It has SRT, NDI, and it has Wi-Fi 6E for connectivity or for wireless connectivity. This camera was made specifically for people who are into mobile live streaming. Personally, as someone who owns the Panasonic GH5, I know I can easily get the Panasonic GH5 from used for $1,000. And if I compare the features that I get from the Panasonic GH5 to the Mevo Core, that wouldn't be fair, even though the price is the same. Why? Because yes, I can live stream with the Panasonic GH5, but to be able to live stream with the Panasonic GH5, first I need to get an HDMI cable, connect through the HDMI, get a capture card, and then after getting a capture card, I have to get a software which probably need a computer, something like OBS, and run it on the computer for me to be able to go live. Now, if I'm doing mobile live streaming, I'm gonna need to invest in something like the YOLOBox Pro. The YOLOBox Pro, you know how much it costs? Over $1,000, I believe $1,200. And to be able to do a mobile live stream, I'll have to invest, either get HDMI cables or get something like an HDMI transmitter. Now, good HDMI transmitters, you know how much they cost? $700, $800, even $1,000. Imagine for my mobile setup with just one camera, one GH5 camera with the YOLOBox, and then you add the lens, I'm spending over $3,000 for that mobile live streaming. Think about this camera. If I want to do a mobile live streaming, I'll just need maybe, let's say I was doing a 2-camera setup, so 2 GH5s. Even if I wasn't using the GH5s, G7 or G85 for $500-$600. Capture cards, now no capture card, now I'm using the YOLOBox, which is over $1,000, or the mini YOLOBox for over $700, $800. And then I have to invest in lenses, compare it, and the HDMI transmitters or cables. Now, if you've done any mobile live streaming, you know how running HDMI cables all over the place is just too messy. It's a nightmare, right? You don't want to be dealing with that. But assuming that's what we got, you can either do that or buy expensive HDMI transmitters. Think about this. You got these 2 cameras, 2 Mevo Core cameras, and then you got your phone, your iPhone, or you got an iPad if you want to have a bigger screen. And then you got the Mevo Core multi-cam application. No need to invest in HDMI transmitters, no need to invest in HDMI cables, no need to buy the YOLOBox or YOLOBox Pro, YOLOBox Mini, none of that. All you gotta do, just need your 2 cameras, connect them wirelessly. They got built-in batteries wirelessly to your iPad or your iPhone. Be able to go live either using Wi-Fi or your cellular data. Of course, you wanna stay within the same range. That you don't wanna be going too far from the cameras. Otherwise, you're gonna have cameras going to disconnect. You're gonna have connectivity issues. And be able to go live on the top of going live directly. You don't need a computer, no capture card, no HDMI. Your setup is cleaner. 2, you're saving a lot of money because you don't have to invest in all those YOLOBox stuff. Again, I love the YOLOBox. No offense to the YOLOBox. It's a great device, but I'm just showing you the value that you're getting from the camera. And on the top of that, think about what you can do with NDI. If you are into streaming for a church, imagine having this camera connected to the same network as your other cameras. And of course, on the top of doing the wireless mobile streaming, you still have other features. You still have HDMI. You still have an option to use it as a webcam, so you can connect directly into your computer. No need to buy a capture card. You can use it on Zoom calls. So many cool features. So it's gonna act as a normal camera, but at the same time, it's gonna give you these mobile capabilities. But again, let's go back to NDI. If you are into church live streaming, imagine having this camera somewhere in, maybe you want to capture, I've seen these churches sometimes they have like a roaming camera where somebody's gonna be asking questions or doing like interviews and stuff outside of the sanctuary. Have this camera connected to the same network within the same building, but not inside the sanctuary. And then have a microphone connected to the camera. Connect an Ethernet cable. You can get an adapter if you want to use Wi-Fi. If you don't want to use Wi-Fi, you can simply connect to a switch anywhere within the sanctuary, depending on your internet infrastructure is kind of built. And then you can use this to do like those interviews where it's connected via NDI. Now you can check out my video where I show you how to connect it via NDI, and then you can actually bring that signal back into your production regardless of what you're using. If you're using a vMix, if you're using OBS, they all support NDI. You can bring in an NDI source of that interview being happening either outside of the building or inside the building in a different room. Can you see that? You can't do that with the GH5, because to do this you need HDMI transmitter, and even the HDMI transmitter, if it's going through some walls, you may get interference. But with this, because it's over the network, then the interference is less likely to happen because it's going through the wires. You can have it wired or even Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, if it's strong enough to get there, it's gonna beat the HDMI transmitters. You see that? With just one camera, guys. Another use case scenario, they say you're doing with SRT. You can have this camera maybe from a remote location. Again, for churches, they like to do this kind of stuff where from a different campus, where you can have maybe this camera, you can have them send you a feed over SRT and have it within your production software. It could be OBS, vMix, or any other software that supports SRT over the network. That's something that you cannot have with a camera like the GH5, because for you to do that, you'd have to go through some other encoder and decoders. But with this, you can get a single feed from this camera from anywhere in the world into your production software. See that? That's just two examples of use case scenarios. Now, if you're doing some remote production, maybe somebody's covering an event for you, you can sit in your office, do the whole production, something like a remote production, maybe somebody going somewhere downtown, something's happening, be sending you a feed over SRT. So you see all those things. So if you really need those specific features, paying $1,000 for this camera, it's too cheap. That's the thing, because in order for you to be able to get those kind of stuff, usually you will have to go with the PTZ cameras. Most PTZ cameras have SRT and DI built into that, but PTZ cameras have small sensors. That's a problem, so the image quality is not the same. But with this, you can have any lens that you want. You can even adapt some good Sony lenses or good EF lenses with the Viltrox adapters and be able to use any lens that you want. So the image quality is gonna be amazing. So that's why if you see it in that angle, camera is not expensive, really. So that's my 2 cents, guys. And let me know what you think down below in the comment section. And again, be nice with me, please. If you want to see a video where I actually show you step by step how to set up this camera for live streaming using OBS and take advantage of SRT, NDI, and of course connecting via USB, and set up and make sure you get a good signal to be able to go live with the camera, make sure you check out the video. It's gonna be linked right here, and I'll see you there, guys. Take care.